Welcome to our newest edition of the Vegas Nation Mailbag, where we bring you up to date on all things that are happening with the Raiders set to come here in Las Vegas in 2020. I'm your host, Heidi Fang, and joined, as always, with our Review Journal sports columnist, Ed Graney. Ed, how you doing today?
Good, kid. How are you?
I'm doing great. Ready to get this thing started.
Can you defend Patrick Mahomes?
Oh,
will you get beaten off the line of scrimmage, or will you be able to stay with receivers?
I can run really fast in circles around
You
Patrick
were a track
Mahomes.
kid in high school.
I was
by
a
the
track
way.
kid.
People don't realize that.
I
do.
ran the 4x1 relay, the 100 hurdles, the 300 hurdles, the 100-meter dash.
Okay, you just made me tired. Let's go.
All right, let's get into this here. So right now, the Raiders are 1-1 after 2 home games, opening the season on Monday Night Football with the win over the Denver Broncos before falling this past Sunday to the defending AFC West champions in the Kansas City Chiefs. Ed, before we look ahead to the coming week here against the Vikings, tell us your thoughts about the Raiders splitting those games. Is this where you expected them to be?
Yeah, and this is where they deserve to be. Look, very simple answer. They were better than the Broncos. I think they're better than the Broncos. They're not as good as the Chiefs. Now, a million other things go into that, as we both know. But they're 1-1 because they deserve to be. Against the Broncos, clean pocket for Derek Carr, line held up. Defensively, I thought they were very good. Gassed in the end there, they gave up a touchdown, but I thought they were really good. Got nice kick return from Dwayne Harris. I mean, everything kind of fell into mode. Against the Chiefs, ironically, and this is silly to say on some levels, but other than about a 10-minute stretch of 9 minutes and 40-some-odd seconds, they were probably closer to the Chiefs than people thought. But then you go within to that 9 minutes and 40 seconds, and here we go with Pat Mahomes, proving he's the MVP, 4 touchdown passes. On 2 of them, complete miscommunication by the defense on the Raiders. And the other 2, I'm going to give credit to the Chiefs. Between Mahomes and his receivers, one being the best tight end in football and Travis Kelce, they were just better. So they are 1-1. They deserve to be 1-1. I think they really wanted that second win going on what we're going to talk about in a little while with this road trip. But they're kind of where they've played to be. They're 1-1 because they deserve to be there.
All right, well, Ed, like most, if not all, NFL teams right now, the Raiders have already had their share of injuries. So just after 2 games, update us on where the Raiders stand right now with injury.
It's a long list for 2 weeks, but they dodged a bullet with Gary Conley, let's be honest. Taken off the field on a stretcher against Denver. He was back to work a few days later, played against Kansas City. He couldn't have been 100%. There's no way you're 100%, but he played, so he was on the field. So they really dodged a bullet there. They did not with Jonathan Abram. We know because of the labrum surgery, he's out for the year, the rookie. I would have really liked to seen him stay healthy for a lot of reasons, but also, you know, he needs to play against Pat Mahomes for 2 times this year. You need to go into that fire and say, hey, this is the best guy in the division. I need to, as a safety, realize what we're going to, as a team, face 2 times a year at least when you're facing the Chiefs for the next several years. But he'll have to wait till next year to see Pat Mahomes. Others, we talked about Dwayne Harris. He's got an ankle. It's one of the reasons Trevor Davis was, they traded for Trevor Davis this week, a punt returner, kick returner, wide receiver from the Packers. He'll probably only return kicks for the most part, really fast kid. But Dwayne Harris with the ankle is hobbled. I think the most important one is Trent Brown. I think Trent Brown's knee is a big concern. He's the left tackle. If he can't go this week, it'll be Brandon Parker. We know last year when Colton Miller and Brandon Parker were your ends on the defensive side, or excuse me, the offensive side at tackles, they gave up 30 sacks between them combined. That's not good. Carr, I think, was sacked 52 or 53 times. 30 came with those 2 guys as your tackles. So you hope as a second-year guy, Brandon Parker's better and more improved, but I think if I'm Derek Carr, I'm really looking at Trent Brown this week and saying, how's the knee, buddy? I think that Tyrell Williams, the wide receiver, number 1 receiver, he has a hip. I would expect him to play, just like I'm expecting Josh Jacobs, the running back, the rookie, who's I thought done very well, but he's got a groin. He's been sick. He's been ill. Lost 10 pounds, he said this week. I think he'll play. I think the one that, maybe Dwayne Harris because of the ankle, but the one you really need to look at going into Minnesota, Heidi, is Trent Brown. They really need him at tackle as you try to patchwork that line as guys come on and off in terms of health and suspensions. They need Trent Brown playing.
Yeah, and we saw what happened when he left the game, when Brandon Parker came in.
2 sacks against Carr.
Back to back.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into what we are going to call the road trip from hell. 5 games away from the Ring Central Coliseum.
This doesn't include any tropical smoothie, right? Because if you get tropical smoothie on the road, you and I both know it can't be hell. It's got to be like the greatest thing ever. But I don't think they're going to get any.
I don't think they're going to get any, especially when these games are in London, facing the Bears and Khalil Mack. They have this week against the Vikings. We have Green Bay, Indianapolis, and Houston down the stretch. So, Ed, the team won't play again in the Bay Area until November 3rd against Detroit. Where is this trip going to take them, and how can it affect the season?
Well, look, they're not going to be favored in any of the games at the books. They will not be favored in any of these games. If you're saying start ranking the best chance at wins, and I say an S on the end of that, maybe win, you'd have to go to London. Now, I know it's Khalil Mack and the Bears are great defensively, but the travel to London, how will the Bears travel as comparative to the Raiders who are going to go right from Indianapolis? You never know. You and I both know we've been in London. You don't know about the weather. Could be a downpour, could be sunny, so you might get helped or hurt there. And let's be honest, right now, you and I could quarterback the Bears. They're really struggling moving the ball. So, if you say the Raiders can go and win a 13-10 game in the rain, okay, they'll take that. That's probably their best chance looking at this in terms of what the point spreads are going to be. It's going to be tough. On the back end, obviously, they have more home games, what you would consider some more easy games on the back end. Yeah. But if you get out of this with no 0 or 1 wins, it's just makes it a really, really long season. You're going to have to find a way to win games. And it's not going to be easy. You're facing really good quarterbacks. Now, you get the bye after the London trip, but then, here comes Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. So, you get the bye to prepare. But this is a really hard stretch. Now, I will say, the Chargers last year, I think, had 5 away from home and made the playoffs. If you look at Tampa Bay this year, they might have 5 or 6 away also straight. So it doesn't make it. I know Gruden this week said, hey, it's unbelievable and it's crazy. And it is all those things. But other people have done it and succeeded or done it and not completely fallen apart. So we'll see what they do in terms of the Raiders. But it's a tough go, man. I figured it out last night. I think with round trips between Oakland and spots and also the one-way trips from Indy to London and London back to Oakland, you're talking 23,000 plus miles in the air. That's a lot of travel. So, look, I don't know how it happened. I think someone messed up, Mr. Schedule Maker, whoever that guy is in New York in some kind of basement at the league offices. He hit the wrong button. But it is what it is. They knew it for a long time, so you got to prepare and you got to go play.
Well, they're going to rack up those frequent flyer miles.
If this was Southwest, I'd be A-list preferred to like the year 2065.
Probably not all in Allegiant, though, because they're
not
probably
all
getting out to London. But,
no, exactly.
Ed, let's get into the keys to the game here for the Vikings. What do you see as the bright spots for the Raiders as they head into Minneapolis?
Well, Kirk Cousins right now is a bit of a nut job when he's throwing the ball. So he might give you opportunities for some picks. He's not playing well. The problem's going to be defensively they're pretty good. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. We go back now again to Trent Brown. Like, is he playing? One guy who will be playing for the Raiders is Richie Incognito. He comes off his suspension. I think that's a huge moment to bring him on. Now, Gabe Jackson's still hurt, but you bring Richie Incognito back into that offensive line. Maybe Brown plays. If not, Parker, you have to hope in a second year he's better. So, Richie Incognito is a bright spot for that offensive line because Carr is going to be pressured. You can't start again with this guy getting sacked a lot each week, especially against what the next 5 games will show them. So you hope Kirk Cousins throws a few bad balls, and you hope he can block people.
Well, it's bound to happen with Kirk Cousins. Dalvin Cook,
I don't know if they can block anybody, but I think he's going to throw a few bad balls.
I think that might happen. So we do actually have some questions, as this is our mailbag show, and some of you out there did reach out to us. So let's get it started here with Don Julio. Why can't they make me happy?
Now, Don's talking about the Raiders, yeah?
He's talking about the Raiders.
Don, you're not drinking enough. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know, but you might be in 5 weeks. You might have substantially increased that. They were 4-12 last year. I assume Don's a really good Raider fan. You haven't been in the playoffs a lot in like 15 or 16 years. You're not going to be very happy. I mean, it's just, you watch that game, they're up 10-0 after 1 quarter. Yeah. Look, Mahomes is going to score. You know they're going to start scoring. You're going to have to keep up with them at that point. And they didn't do that. So they don't make you happy because in a 9-minute stretch, you kind of can see the margin of here's the best team in the division and here's where the Raiders are, and what's it going to take to get to that guy? Now, one guy we haven't talked about, the Jaguars corner, Jalen Ramsey, who wants a trade. He's been linked to the Raiders. I don't know if that's going to happen. A lot of things has to happen. 1, Jalen Ramsey wants to be on a winning team right now. They're not a winning team right now. 2, if you sign Jalen Ramsey or you trade for him, you're going to give up a lot, and you're not going to do that if Jalen Ramsey doesn't agree to a huge extension, which means you're going to pay Jalen Ramsey, who showed up at a camp or somewhere in a Brinks truck. He's going to want a lot of money. So a lot of the things go into that. But at the end of the day, if you watched that game last week, and I'm sure Don did, he's not happy because I think you see, here's Mahomes, and he didn't even have Tyreek Hill, by the way.
No.
Here's Mahomes, and here's all their skill people, and this in that 9-minute stretch, you're like, whoa, this is hard to defend. So Donnie, have a few more and hope that they can improve their pass defense.
Don Julio is a tequila, though, so.
Oh, that's right. Well, Donnie's probably on top of things.
Drink up to you. All right, John Mann at Black Mountain 3 after the first scripted drive, sputtering offense due to car play and or Gruden play calling. And yes, his handle is short for Black Mountain.
I think it's all the above. Plus, look, when you're down 10-0, and I know the Kansas City Chiefs are not known for their defense, they're known for homes and offense, but they do have defensive coordinators. They do have defensive coaches. They are over there with the iPads looking at things. You have to give them somewhat credit for adjusting, but all of a sudden, Carr's pocket isn't as clean anymore. Yes, it could be play calling. Yes, it could be that. I think it was a collection of all things. And watch Derek Carr over these next 5 games. I think it's really important to watch him. I think the assumption has been made he will be in Vegas and he'll be the quarterback. And I think that's probably still true. But I think Mike Mayock and John Gruden are watching him on a weekly basis. He's got to start producing more numbers in terms of the passing game, down the field. He's got to start doing that. You're the quarterback. You paid a lot of money. I'm not saying it's all on him, obviously. They have to protect him. But I think they're also looking in these next 5 games, how does he handle all these road games? How does he handle when they're down, when you're chasing? Last week, they weren't going to win. They went for it on 4th and 2, down 28-10. And again, they have a bad false start and they're trying to do something. You can't have those kind of penalties when you're trying to at least show that you can compete with these guys. But I think it's Gruden. I think it's Carr. I think it's the fact Kansas City adjusted. I think it's the fact they stopped blocking or couldn't block anymore. It's a lot of things. It's never just 1 or 2 guys when you score 10 points in the first quarter and then you don't score the rest of the game. Right. But yeah, they need to do better. Long story short, they need to do better offensively more consistently.
And the Raiders also had to abandon the run because I think Josh
once
Jacobs
it's 28-10, your whole game plan at halftime, rip that baby up and throw it out,
right.
Get Donnie a few more shots of the stuff, and here we go.
All right, so there you have it, everybody. That'll do it for this edition of the Vegas Nation Mailbag. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, you can keep up with us on the Vegas Nation app. Download that today, vegasnation.com, and also on reviewjournal.com, and you can find all Ed stuff in print and online as well. That'll do it for us. For Ed Graney, I'm Heidi Fang. Thank you for watching.